Hello everyone. Today we are going to review the movie Unhinged. Oh god. I wish I could get this camera angle right off the hop, but for whatever reason, maybe it's just this prop that I'm using behind it that doesn't want to do it right or what, I don't know. Seems to have moved a little bit. There, maybe that's better. Is that better? Oh no, it's caught on something. Great way to start the video, hey? Uh, so, yes, Unhinged. Starring Russell Crowe. What the hell did I just do? Karen Pistorius, Gabriel Bateman, Jimmy Simpson, Austin P. McKenzie, Julian Joyner, I believe, was the girlfriend. Yes. And I think that was basically the main cast anyway. All of the other ones were kind of secondary to the film. So this starts out with Russell Crowe sitting outside this house, I guess of his ex-wife and her new boyfriend or something or other. Somebody she was obviously sleeping with. So it's in the nighttime, so he breaks down the door to the house with a hammer and then goes into the house and kills them both. And then lights the house on fire and leaves the gas can in the house and drives away. And the house kind of just lights up and explodes. So now there's this. So now we go to this family, because otherwise that would have just been like a 5-second clip of like, woohoo, Russell Crowe did this, that's the movie, the end. But without this other family in the movie, there wouldn't have been much to the movie. I'm sorry, there's this little piece of fuzz on my mic that's just distracting me, and I don't know where it went. Anyway, it's been bothering me for a couple days now, and I just haven't dealt with it, I guess. But anyhow, so I don't know why they didn't give him a name, and I don't think they ever named him in the movie. Or he does. Oh no, he does say his name. His name is. Oh God, was his name Tom or Tim? Huh. Crap. Maybe it'll say. Huh. He does say his name at one point, which I'm surprised that they didn't put it in here. They just literally cast him as man in the movie, which makes no sense, because he does give a name at one point in the movie. I just wish I could remember whether it was Tom or Tim. I believe it was one of those two, and he only ever gives it out once, I think. So anyway, I guess that wasn't vital to the film for whatever reason, as to what kind of name he gave out, but hey. So anyway, we go to this family, right, with, so I guess the brother and girlfriend are living with the sister and son. So she's recently divorced from, I think Leo, who was played by Stephen Lewis Grush. I believe that was her former husband. Yeah. So, it just seems to be her and her son, and I guess, I'm not really sure, I guess their mom lives in a different, more like, I would say, suburban area type thing, because we do get to see the grandparents, or, yeah, the grandma's house later on in the movie. So it sounds like Fred is talking to her about moving her to a home, and she obviously doesn't know how to work the technology properly. So he just says, I'll talk to you later, see you later. And then you hear this little blurb on the news about this man who is still at large for lighting his ex's house on fire. And I believe that the man she was with was the divorce lawyer, possibly. So that would make more sense as to why Russell Crowe's character went into the restaurant after following Rachel for a while. And he follows her to this gas station after they have their little altercation at the red light. And it was kind of weird because he went from like, you couldn't have just given me a little like warning tap, like a little honk. She just kind of lays on the horn when he's sitting there at the green light, because obviously he's still probably, kind of out of it a little bit after obviously murdering somebody. So he clearly doesn't probably know where he is, and it looks like he's taking some sort of drugs to keep him somewhat stable. I'm not really sure what it was. It showed the bottle at one point, but I didn't have enough time to read it. So he's taking those throughout the movie. I don't know whether that was really helping anything or whether it was just worsening the problem. I'm not really sure. But he ends up taking her phone at the gas station, and this guy walks out with Rachel once she's paid for her gas and whatever else she was grabbing there. He walks out with her, gets Russell Crowe's character's plates. See, I can't remember his name. I think it was Tom. I'm going to say Tom. He gets Tom's plates. Because I'm pretty sure he said his name was Tom, and I don't know why they didn't put that in there. But anyhow. So they get Tom's plates, and he actually just runs over the guy and follows her down the street, and eventually they get separated. So he has her phone though, so he goes through all her contacts, and the first person he killed was her divorce lawyer, Andy, at the restaurant. Actually, he just punches him once he actually gets on the phone with Rachel again after calling her, and I guess he left her some sort of like burner phone or maybe his own phone. I'm not really sure how that worked, but he was still able to track Rachel and Kyle through the iPad that he'd actually taped to the bottom of the seat, which Kyle discovers later on. So pretty crazy that he was just able to follow them throughout the entire movie without any with ease, I guess you could say. So at one point he kind of just asks her to choose who she wants to die next. So he goes through her phone, all her contacts, her mother, her son. What was it? I guess she chose the woman that had fired her the morning of, before all this happened. So obviously Rachel calls the police after this and tells them what the cops what addresses to go to keep everybody safe. She goes to the school to get her son, and by that time, unfortunately, Tom's already back at her house with Fred and Mary, and he's beating the crap out of Mary, and then Fred has a knife in his hand and he throws Mary at Fred, which I kind of knew was going to happen. Maybe not quite as many times. He kind of just did it repeatedly to make Fred stab her a bunch so that she was dead. So that was probably one of the more brutal scenes. And then he ties Fred to a chair and lights him on fire when the cop shows up. Tom gets shot a couple times. I believe his name was Tom Cooper. I believe that's what he said, was Tom Cooper. Now, obviously, that could have been a very fake name, so we don't actually know what his real name is, and maybe that's why they just cast him as Man, which seems very weird for a Russell Crowe movie. Like, he's not a small-time actor, so very weird to not put a name under that. But anyway, I guess that's really just bothering me. So yeah, I believe he said his name was Tom Cooper at the restaurant. So now he's in the house with them. He gets shot a couple times. He ends up stealing Mary's van, I do believe. Was it Mary's van or the neighbor's van? Actually, I think it might have been the neighbor's van that he stole. So he might have even went over and killed the, like, across the street neighbors. That's just crazy. Like, this guy just went on an absolute murdering spree from the beginning of the movie to the end. So now his goal is to kind of, I guess, work his way down this hit list type thing for him, because he is a very unhinged person, obviously quite unstable, to just, have a little honk with somebody in the middle of the street. But I guess that was kind of the whole point of this movie, was that the road rage was on the rise, and people were getting more anxious, and due to social media, people don't have, everything's just being thrown in everybody's faces, and the divide of the country sort of thing, and so on and so forth. So it really focused on like the a really deep issue, even though the main issue it was focusing on was very, very small. So now he's coming back after Rachel and Kyle, but this time he's in the van. So they try to get the cop's attention on the highway. He ends up just hitting the cop, and then the cop goes to call for backup and gets run over by this cement truck. And then it causes this huge pileup. So they call the cops on the iPad. You can see it only has 3% left, so you know it's not going to make it very long. It dies, so now they know they're on their own, so they're running through all the streets, trying to get away from him. That's when they decide to go to the grandma's house. So the streets, I guess, Fred had said earlier that they were like spaghetti sometimes. You could get lost really easily because of just, they went every which way direction. Sometimes it was hard to find your way through there. So they end up losing him in there for a little long enough to get Kyle hidden in the attic, and for Rachel to grab the other car and leave their car in the driveway, so that when he does find them, she ends up just hitting him and flipping the van. Of course, when she goes up to the van, he's not in it, and he beats her up on the street, and then goes into the house and tries to lure Kyle out of the attic by saying that he's the cops, although he doesn't really know Kyle's in the attic until Kyle ends up knocking something over. So then there's this huge fight scene between Rachel, Kyle, and Tom at the very end of the movie, and that was where it was kind of like a very anticlimactic scene, because I was like, he's going to end up killing one of them, I would have thought. Maybe not the kid. Maybe the kid would have saved the day, and the cops were already on their way, so I thought maybe the cops are going to show up and he's going to end up getting shot at the end. That would have made a little bit more sense to me. But she ends up just stabbing him in the face with the scissors, right in the eye. Like, of all the places, I don't know, it seemed like very pinpoint accuracy for somebody who had absolutely no training. She just kind of went, hey, and then just right in the eyeball. Like, I don't know. He threw the kid, like, in front of him, so I was thinking, uh-oh, she's gonna end up stabbing her own son, but that would have been a more wild ending, I think. And then he falls to the ground, but the scissors aren't in far enough. So then she goes, here's your, what did she say? Here's your courtesy tap or something. And then kicks the scissors into his head the rest of the way. So yeah, I was like, oh, that was a very anticlimactic ending to that entire movie, because I was really hoping for something a little bit more spectacular to happen than him just kind of die at the hands of a pair of scissors. It was just like, the whole rest of the movie was good, the storyline was good, I was liking where it was going, and then that happened. So overall, I think I can only really give this movie about a 7 out of 10, just because it really just flopped for me at the end. Because, I don't know, it just seems like between the three of them, I'm sorry, but I think he probably would have won that fight if it were real life. That's just me. I know, of course, it's a movie, so they're obviously going to make the good guys win, but I don't think it would have went down that way. Or at least that's not how I would have directed it. I know, obviously, nobody wants to see a kid die in a movie, so maybe the kid should have been the one to end up killing him, right? I think that would have been a better ending. That's just me. But anyway, so yeah, 7 out of 10 for this movie. IMDb gave it a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't. It's not a bad movie, it's just not the best movie, I would say. And that's mainly for the ending. I did enjoy the rest of the film. It kind of kept you on the edge of your seat as to, like, where is he going to be? And you were always in suspense because most of the movie was filmed in the car. So, like, you're like, oh my god, when's he going to, like, come out of nowhere and just hit them? But he never seemed to do that. He just kind of, like, it was almost like he was taunting them in a way until he absolutely went nuts and started killing everybody on her phone. But that's besides the point. So, yeah, he just did a very good job of keeping us in suspense as to where he was going to be all the time. I mean, you kind of had a feeling when they were on the highway he was going to be somewhere around them, and I thought he was still going to be in the truck and he was just going to come up behind them as soon as he found the iPod and just like wipe them out on the highway. But I guess because the cop was there, he didn't want to do that. Obviously, he was trying to be hidden himself, and he had 2 gunshot wounds. I think like one way down in the ribs and one in the shoulder. So he wasn't doing too well by the end of the movie. That's for sure. But anyway, I think that's about all I can say about this movie. So as always, like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Oh, that felt good. Your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. If not, I would still recommend going to see it because I haven't said this in the last few videos that I've recorded, but yeah, everybody's opinion is going to be different. So don't just listen to me about my opinion. Go and watch the movie for yourself because you should do that. Because everybody will have a different rating of the movie. So don't listen to every critic. I know I'm kind of critiquing the movie a bit too, but don't always listen to the critics, right? I've actually have just a little bit of information from that. I would say that I've done a couple reviews on movies that I've had friends at work tell me got horrible reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. But I would say, I know Rotten Tomatoes is supposed to be like one of the best rated like review sites ever. I don't know though anymore because some of the movies I've watched that I thought were crap, they rate really good. And some of the movies that I thought were good, they rate really horribly. So it almost seems like the real just critics of movies instead of like people who actually sit down and watch the film. See, I like to watch the film for the whole film instead of just picking like 1 or 2 things that were bad, because even in a bad film there's still good things that happen, and even in a good film there can still be one thing that kind of spoils it a little bit. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that before I ended this video. But anyhow, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.